Hey, everybody. Welcome to our talk show.
Well, it's a podcast, not a talk show. It's not
Isn't
TV.
it kind of a talk show, though? We
It's
do
kind of a
talk.
talk show, I
It's
guess,
a bit
yeah.
of a
We
show.
talk and people listen.
We got celebs on it and stuff.
Okay.
We don't have a band or television.
Right now on the
cameras.
show, I hope that you would just not talk and just say, hey, welcome to SmartLess.
So a talk show for you guys, a listen show for me.
Yep.
Sure.
Got it.
Welcome to SmartLess.
SmartLess.
How's everybody doing today?
I had a great day. I had a great morning.
Yeah, but Sean, you got a towel around your neck. Why
No,
is
it's
that?
a blanket, Jay.
Oh, are you in an overly air-conditioned apartment?
I certainly am.
Oh, that's high-class problems.
What's the temperature in New York City today?
It's hot. It's
Is
like 80, 90, I don't know.
No kidding. And so you're in a place that's so hot, but you're wearing a blanket.
Well, because Scotty's at the gym, and when he gets home from the gym, it's like it's too hot. Without
Do you know that 7 of the hottest days on record on this planet have been in the last week?
Yes, I know.
And it's
crazy.
because of people like you.
Yeah.
No,
Because Scotty likes you to have all your...
Because Scotty doesn't want to be hot when he comes home from the gym.
no.
Or else.
Take
that's,
that.
That's not
Hey,
true.
take that polar ice cap.
But wait, you love this. I think I told you this, Jason, before, but I don't know if I told you, Will. When Scotty and I were at a restaurant the other night and we got in a fight about, not a fight, just a discussion about the weather, like the weather app versus the internet. I always look at the internet for the correct right thing. And he's like, no, just use your iPhone app, the weather app on your iPhone. I'm like, it's never right. It always says 70 or 80 and it's going to rain and it doesn't. I'll go to the internet. And then just to diffuse the tension, when it gets real hot like that between us, like in a public place, I always look to his left to an imaginary person and I go, try living with it.
God. Wait, so when you go to the internet, what do you...
I go to AccuWeather. That's better than the Apple app for weather.
Where do you go on the internet, Sean?
I go to Weather Channel.
Oh, well, that's there's an app for that.
Yeah, but it's just like I just look it up.
By the way, I can't imagine you ever fighting with anyone. I was talking about you the other day with somebody, and I said, with all seriousness, I've never seen you in a bad mood. I've never seen you angry. I've never seen you fight, obviously, with anybody. Or
You saw me. I got angry with you 3 years ago.
What did I do? What did you do?
Nothing. We were just arguing about something on the phone, and then we called each other after, and you said, I think that was our first ever fight. And I said, yeah. And you smiled and you laughed and you said, how does it feel?
God, I don't remember.
You guys got a little scrappy. I remember you guys got a little scrappy.
We got in a discussion. But I have been angry like twice. There's only like 1 or 2 people in my whole life that can actually push me in a corner so bad that when I come out, I sound like the most brilliant like speaker in the world. Like when my buttons are pushed so much.
Laser focus.
I sound so smart otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, like watching you in the play, your character gets pretty. He's not a happy guy.
Yeah, I think I get it out in that way.
That was really interesting to see. So you know how to be grumpy.
Yeah,
you just never are. Why are you so fucking happy?
You know what?
And then that's why you guys are such a great.
Yeah, because I'm grumpy all the time. But I'm not upset about anything. I think my rest is just.
Grump.
Like, Amanda's always asking me, well, are you okay? You in a good mood? Yeah. I just chill all the time.
Yeah, you're always chill. You're always super chill.
Yeah.
So you're in a constant state of chillax. Would you say that?
I'm always chillaxing, and then but Sean, you're always obviously happy. I'm never obviously, well, not never obvious, but I'm just sort of normal. You're never normal. You're always happy.
Well,
What's
that's
going
sweet.
on?
I honestly think it's the dumbest cliche answer, but it's the truth. I think the way I grew up so shit poor. We all did in my family. That it sounds so dumb, but I walk down the street every day going, oh my God, I don't have to go through a winter in Chicago without any heat. I don't have to go without food. I don't have to go without all these things that we didn't have as kids.
That's still tangible to you. That's
yeah.
Still...
I'm just like, it's why I work hard and it's why I'm grateful every day.
Huh?
Pretty good.
And that's the end of the show.
Will, what's you're always kind of just normal. Like when you're happy about something, you can tell. When you're upset about something, you can tell. but
Yeah.
you're usually right in the middle, like me. You're not on some.
I've never
You're
seen.
not on, I feel like Sean might be taking something.
I wish. Well, you know,
he's
I take a
on
Valium
something.
every once in a while. But Will, I've never seen you really. I see you hot when you get opinionated about something.
Yeah.
But I've never seen you angry at a person.
Well, this is the other thing that I have to, and I've been warned by Alessandra and even by my ex, by Amy, which is just
Stop hitting people.
no. Amy used to turn to me. I get heated about it, and she'd just look at me and she'd go, "Tone," and I go, "Sorry." And so I get
nothing will get me hotter than that. That's like telling me to relax.
But I don't get
if somebody just said tone.
Yeah, I'd be like, "Oh, really? What kind of tone?"
But you see, I don't take it that way. I don't take it personally that way because in that moment I go like, "Oh, the other person's is being subjected to my shit," and so like I gotta because that's a blind spot. You know, is like I get in this thing where I go. I'll hear somebody in a relationship or whatever, or somebody in my life, and they'll say, "Hey, you said that," and blah blah blah. And I go, "Boy, I really didn't see it that way. I'm really sorry." And
yeah, I appreciate getting heads up like that too. And I also don't want people walking on eggshells around me. I just assume that no one's paying any attention to me, so I can just be level and normal. But I realize that, oh, well, if I'm not sending signals that I'm in a good mood, people might be uneasy around me or anyone else that might, you know.
I heard that the people over at Aggregate, all the staff got together. You know what they're going to call the company now?
Here it comes.
Eggshell Productions.
I thought you were going to say aggravated.
Aggravated. That would have been better.
All right, let's get to our guest.
Okay.
I love this person. I'm so excited for you guys to meet this person. We're all fans of this person.
Okay.
And Jason, just a little heads up, she was on your list too, I found out.
Really?
Yeah.
You stole her?
I stole her. She's going to fit right in here since she isn't a stranger to dealing with idiots. In fact, some could argue, she's made a career of it.
Oh, he's written this.
I totally read. I read all these stuff.
ChatGPT.
And ChatGPT. Write me up. Oh my God, that's so funny. In college, she had a competitive backstroke with the William and Mary Athletic Tribe before eventually deciding to dive into the mean waters of political campaigning. And though it would be difficult to be the most memed employee at the White House, she's got to be in the top 5. I'm a big fan of the super smart, super cute ginger.
Jen
Psaki.
Get it out here.
Oh, I knew
I love the transition from backstroke. I was a mediocre college swimmer. I'm just going to acknowledge at the start here to politics. So thank you for that. And I also love this conversation about happiness.
I thought you were
joyful.
like a superstar backstroker.
Nah, I was mediocre.
You know, you think you're in shape until you try to swim. I mean, any kind of swimming is really impressive because, boy, you try 2 laps and you're down.
It's
the hardest thing to do. That and full court basketball.
Jen Psaki, nice to meet you. I'm so glad
nice
you're here.
Nice to meet you.
What are your thoughts on treading water as a form of exercise? Because I've heard that's like it involves all
water
your
polo.
muscles.
It is hard. Now, I was a lifeguard growing up, and you have to be able to tread water for a certain amount of time. I don't know if any of you are aspiring lifeguards, but you might have to practice. It's part of the journey to save people.
Let me tell you, I went with my friend once a long time when I went as a kid to this lake, and in the middle of the lake there was this you could lay out this. Stay with me.
Sorry.
This little platform that you could swim to, and we got out there, and I swam. I couldn't swim back. I panicked. I had to grab him on his back, and he had to swim.
Well, this is the plot of Stand By Me. What are you talking about? You just made that up.
And then we found a dead body.
Jen Psaki, I'm so excited that you're here.
I know.
I'm
me
excited
too.
to be here. I'm a huge fan. Can I just say, and happy 3rd birthday.
No.
to all
Oh,
of
thank you.
Wow.
It's
You're welcome.
bananas that you even know that we're on the planet because I watch you every single day. I'm totally starstruck. Your world is far more exciting and interesting and respectful than ours, respectable than ours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
her side, shall we say?
Her side.
side.
Sure.
Yeah. No, I want to, first of all, I just want to get this out of the way, the dumb stuff at the beginning. How many people pronounce your last name wrong and do?
Oh, God. I mean, 80%.
What do they say?
Pasui, Pasali, Psaki. They add letters in between.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm sympathetic to hard names, and I really try hard to pronounce them. But I over-ask sometimes how to pronounce names as a result.
Yeah, I'm sure.
How are you liking doing a show? what's the schedule like? Is it nuts or easy?
Oh, yeah, it's great. I love it. I mean, it's different because my show's on Sundays. I have another show on Thursdays, a Peacock show, and I have a newsletter and a couple different things. But yes, on Peacock, you can stream it. But on so there's a lot of build up to the Sunday show, and so I wouldn't say the schedule is. And I appear on other people's shows too, so it depends on the week. But it's different from the White House, where I was just in my last job, because then it was all about the briefing every day, and you work 24/7. It's not like that anymore. But I do spend a lot of time with this amazing team trying to figure out what unique we're going to say, what guests we're going to have on. Spend a lot of time reading. So it's just a different schedule, but it's not as insane as it used to be.
Well, so speaking of the insane times, so you were at the White House, and what was that?
What was that like?
Where were you when you got the call? Well, where were you when you first of all when you got the? What was it like? Where were you when you got the call?
I was just going to say, is the answer Peter Ducey? I don't know. People always ask me about Peter Ducey.
I love that.
Go ahead. That was not your question.
Well, we can do that. Where were you when you got the call that they were offering you that job? Do you remember how that went down?
So I was a bridesmaid twice before I was a bride, as they like to say. I was the runner-up for this job twice, which is relevant mainly because a lot of times people don't get jobs, and then sometimes it works out, right? And was a big lesson to me. But I was working on the transition. There's a presidential transition, right, between every president, and I just felt like I was working in the private sector. I was working for CNN, but I felt like I wanted to do something for government in that period of time post-Trump. I didn't know what it was, so I was working on that. And Anita Dunn, who is still one of President Biden's closest advisors,
I need it done right now. Yeah,
right. She's got a fabulous. Isn't it a great name? I know.
I love that name.
Yeah.
She called me and she said, would you be interested in being considered for this job? And I said, I'd be honored, but I really have to talk to my family about it, which sounds a little 1950s, but the truth is,
no.
I mean, what some people think, just, you're a woman, just do it. And I believe that, but I have two little kids. I still do. I had them then as well. Sure. And I wanted to factor that in and see how that would be. But then fast forward, she called me and said, can you go see the president-elect tomorrow or the next day or something? And so that was all. It was kind of a little bit of a short journey.
Oh, cool.
Can I ask you, was one of the considerations when you said I have to talk to my family, obviously you have to talk to your family no matter who you are when you take a job like that, because it's so all-encompassing, and it threatens to take a lot of your time and a lot of your energy and a lot of your focus, and so you've got to say to your partner and your kids and whatever,
and all of a sudden it's a public job.
Well, I was going to get to that. So what I was saying was two-part, which is the first part is it's a big job, blah blah blah. We know that, but also did you sort of give you some pause knowing that the environment had changed dramatically in November 2016? Everything changed, the way that we approached and where all the norms were thrown out the window, and all of a sudden everything is on the table or off the table, depending on how you look at it. And now we live in a different world that's very changed, that's without grace, that's without norms, that's without respect for it. All that kind of stuff is thrown out. Was that a major consideration? Sorry for the long question.
Oh, no. I know this is going to sound crazy, but no, I didn't think I was living that in the sense that I was consuming all of this vitriol just like everybody was, but I didn't apply it to myself. And actually, even when I started the job working as the press secretary, because it was the height of COVID, and I didn't go out anywhere. I didn't do anything social. I just basically went to work, just like everybody. I went to work. Everybody was tested every day. I went home, and it wasn't until maybe 3 or 4 months in, I threw out the first pitch at a Nats game, which was amazing, but also I'd never thrown a baseball before. No,
you didn't bounce it, did you?
No, I didn't.
I would totally bounce it.
I was really, in the leading up to it, I thought to myself, okay, Anthony Fauci and other people really did not do a good job. And if that happened, I was already like playing forward in my head what I would say about my failed pitch. But when I was there, which was kind of the first random social thing I did, my husband was with me, and this older man, I mean, doesn't matter, but just a description of him, was following me around going, shame, shame, shame. And it was like, what?
What?
So I know because he didn't like Joe Biden. Maybe he didn't like the policies of the world I stood for. Who knows? But to answer your question, now I'm giving you a long answer.
No, I like it.
I didn't digest it in that way.
Yeah.
And but experiencing it and living it, and this happens to certainly people of both parties. But what I think has happened in more recent years is anyone who, and I don't know how it is for all of you. Do people hate you in a different way, or do they just all love you? How does it work?
There's 3 categories. I just heard this recently.
It's mostly to Sean. Go ahead. Yeah. He gets
3 categories.
I mean, Sean's answer on happiness, I feel like, how could you not love him? I feel outraged about those people. Okay, continue.
There's three groups of people. For you, for us, for anybody that's in the public eye. The people who hate you will always hate you. The people who love you will always... Oh, no. It's no matter what you do, the people who hate you will always hate you. No matter what you do, the people who love you will always love you. And no matter what you do, the people who don't care about you don't care about you, are indifferent. Those are the 3 groups, right?
Yeah, you're not turning anybody. There's not going to be anybody. Yeah. You didn't get a lot of letters going, hey, I really hated you a lot for the first 3 years. And you know what?
You said,
I think exactly. I was wrong about it. Like, it just doesn't exist in that way, which is absurd.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think, Will, you make fun of me for when I talk about getting news when you're in the White House versus getting I like
Jason thinks that there's a secret news.
I've heard you talk about this.
Wait, what is it? What is it?
Well, you think there's a secret source of information,
no, there's not
right?
secret, but I think
there's a news source for the news people.
But I think you get information inside the White House earlier than, say, the press gets it. And not by a lot, but maybe by a few minutes, maybe an hour at times.
Yeah.
Yes?
Well, not exactly. Although, I do think you're onto a little bit of something, is that you are making a bunch of the news in the White House, right?
Yeah.
So in that sense, yes. I mean, if you're sitting, which I did and many others did many times, in the Situation Room and you know that something is going to happen, you're going to reopen relations with Cuba, whatever you're going to do.
Right.
You're going to go after
or you'll
that
get
guy.
an incoming from the Defense Department saying we have just just gotten rid of one of the ISIS leaders or whatever.
Yeah,
so you guys get that
exactly.
information before
then you know it's coming. Yes.
Right. But now that you're in the media, do you wish that you still had some of those same sources or avenues?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's, what do I miss? I love my job. I love doing a TV show. I get to talk about all sorts of different things and talk to all sorts of smart people here. But I do miss being able to just walk into Jake Sullivan's office or even the Oval Office and just say, what's the deal with this? And there's certainly been news that's happened that you think, what is the deal with this? I want to know what the deal is. It doesn't make sense.
Like with airline food, right? Like, what's the deal with airline food?
Sources as a journalist,
does that ever...
I'll bet your sources as a journalist are incredible, right? Because you've got many, many high level friends in the government still.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think
Jen, sorry, I hate to interrupt you. I just want to make sure, is Scotty okay? Because I know he just got back from the gym and I can see him in the background. Is it
cool enough there for him?
Do you need
Scotty, you okay from the gym? I said you like the air conditioning on when you come back.
Are you?
Yeah.
He's okay.
All right. Okay, good. Because you got the blankets off your shoulders. Your pashmina's off your shoulders,
It's all
Sean,
good.
So.
It's all good. I can hear Joy Reid, who I know has been on before. I can hear her in the hallway. She's 3 doors down. No, she's literally walking by my office.
Oh, you're at work right now?
Tell her hello.
Oh, yeah. This is my office.
That's so
she's
rad.
on the phone. Yeah.
Oh, Wait, so where is that? Washington or New York?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Washington. Oh God, I would dork out so much in those offices.
Just come on down. Joy and I will take you around. We can take you on the Meet the Press site. It can be so nerdy and amazing. We're ready.
So cool. So now, Jen, I have something to say before I want to get into how you started because now, since we're talking about the White House press room and everything like that, now watching from home, first of all, you're on because you were also on Jason's list, I think, because we love you, we admire you, I love you and your brain.
You. Mutual.
Yes, and whenever you would come
you were
out,
on my list too.
It's cool.
And
it's
Will's,
cool.
I'm sure.
It's fine.
No,
now
we
know, but it's okay. I know the two who.
Not only that, you were on 3 of my list.
Arnett's much more of a tapper.
No, you were my list.
He loves the old tap scene.
I like Jake Tapper. He writes some good fiction books. It's all good.
We love Jake.
You were on 3 of my list. You were on 3 of my list. 3 of my list.
So two things. One, at the end of the question, I want to know what the hell's in the binder. I think everyone wants to know what's in that binder because it's so thick and you flip through it and I want to know.
A lot.
What if it was just menus or something weird? I just did it to scare people.
It looks like I'll have the fried rice with the. Whenever you would come out to speak at a press conference, and I'd be watching on TV. I'd point to the TV. I'm like, yeah, what Jen said. Like, I don't have the gift like you do of just generally articulation and speaking in a succinct manner. And you always made the best points. You gave the most clarity when explaining a position on a certain topic or issue. And you have the gift of communicating in a way that makes it digestible to us, right?
Thank you.
And always, at least to me, there was always such common sense to everything you said.
Sounds
and
like
so
there's a
I
butt
say
coming.
that
Here
because
comes a butt.
it's what's
It's
that?
okay if there's a butt. I'm
There's
ready
a butt
for it.
coming or something.
Well, I'm asking because for, like you said, for debate, because now it seems the whole thing, it's an interesting job as press secretary, whether it's Democratic president or Republican president or whatever. And there's never going to be a situation where the press secretary goes, you know what? Great question. You got me. There's always going to be this thing where you know what they're going to ask and they know you prepared the question. So what's going on here?
Well, that's true. I mean, look, the truth
You know
is,
what I mean?
I think so. I mean,
I don't.
Fox News, I called on them every day. They didn't exactly like the Biden administration as a network. They were really predictable because if you watch Fox News every day, they kind of had a rotation of, at the time when I was there, the border is burning and hundreds of thousands of people are coming across the border. COVID is a disaster. And, there's a rotation of things. So it was somewhat predictable. It's going to be one of those
Sorry,
questions.
did we get an update on the Caravan? Did it ever make it? Because, man, there were a lot of...
It's really hard to make it if something is a fabrication. That is true.
I had a friend.
Yeah.
I had a friend who's like, these guys
Who was
know.
in the Caravan?
Yeah.
Well, he would know.
Is he a good friend? He's staying with you now?
He was a
Got a
friend
flat
of mine
tire.
who again, I'm not going to name him, comedian, sort of older guy, a little bit older than we are. And he's one of those people who made that turn into Fox News when he got to be about 60.
Yeah.
And it's a real bummer. And I see him and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, and his whole thing was the Caravan. I'm like, man, it's not real. I mean, go ahead. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, well, because you're often in a situation where you're up there presenting facts, right?
Right.
You're sitting there in the hub of information, what is real, what is not, from an international level to a domestic level.
Right.
And yet they're sitting there hearing you relay that generously, and then they say, yeah, no, I don't believe it. Or that,
Right.
like, I don't know where you go from there.
Well, I think you try to make a dent into it. I mean, you're not, you try to present the counter story or the counter of the facts in to counter what the accusation is.
But does that feel like dropping the bucket? Does it feel deflating? Or do you feel defeated sometimes?
Not really. I mean, the days that were defeating were the days where you'd answer the same question 50 times,
Right.
and those, there were days like that. That's okay. I mean, the truth is the facts questions were not the hardest ones. They're not the hardest ones in there. The hardest ones are the people who are the experienced, in-depth print reporters who are going to actually ask you the very hard question that's hard to answer
Right.
because they've been
That
working
you
on an
may
issue.
not expect.
That you may not expect, or you may see them in the room and you say, oh, shit. I need to warm up before I get to that person.
Yeah, because the point of my question was, or comment, was just the fact that, and Jay, I know you said you didn't get it, but what I was trying to say was, it's not that surprising, the questions you know that you're going to get that day.
Sure.
Right? So
That's true.
Part of the job is to prepare for these things that are the issues of the day.
Yeah,
And
that's
there's
right.
a significant prep before you go out there, yes? I mean, that's why sometimes
Yes.
you guys are delayed, right? Because you're going to sit there with the man and say, well, what should our response be on X, Y, or Z?
Yeah, sometimes, and exactly, the man. I think he'd like to be, are you talking about Joe Biden? He would like to
Yeah.
be referred to that way. Dark Brandon, the man, the guy in the Oval, whatever. Exactly. Well, look, I mean, I think when I was in the job, and I think anyone who's done that job sees their job as, is speaking, of course, on behalf of the president. So you have to get feedback from that person to make sure you're projecting what they think, what their point of view is, what's actually going on. And sometimes, the job, when I was doing it, I always felt like it was just, you want to push as hard as you can push on the system internally, whether it's the policy experts or the president or others, to say, we need more, we need to be able to say more, because you're kind of the bridge between the media, the press, and the president and the senior members of the team. So, yeah, sometimes it was delayed because of that.
Is there a specific moment or question or any kind of thing that really sticks in your memory where you're super, super close to saying, why don't you go fuck yourself?
Oh, the people who know me well would say that, there were times where I basically did without saying, go fuck yourself. So, yes, of course. I mean, there were certainly moments where I lost kind of my steam when it was the 11th or 12th time of a question being asked, and you just sort of but then what happens is that portion where you lose your steam or you don't give the full answer or you lose your temper is what goes online, right? So you can be aware of that.
Exactly.
There was a particular, I don't remember who he's worked for, but he asked me about abortion all the time. And there was a time where I basically ripped his head off. So, there are times, because you're human, I'm an Irish lass in my heart. You can't be level-headed at all moments. But, you try to, especially given the time that we are in, and we were in 2 years ago, the whole goal was to try to be calm and even-keeled, because we needed to kind of take the venom out of the briefing room and return it to a place that was providing information to the public.
And is the official angle like that you're speaking on behalf of the president or you're speaking on behalf of the United States? Because there's a difference there, right?
That is true. That's a very good question.
Thank you.
But kind of both.
Guys, did you get that? Did you hear what she...
Well, we're recording.
Where do you think his nickname is Stopped Clock?
Yeah. No, it's kind of, the answer is both, because sometimes the questions were about the president's view. He is the leader of the United States, or the president's meetings, or his schedule, or his conversation. And then there were sometimes questions, both, about the policy of the United States. And
which are sometimes
the president
at odds.
would say things that were at odds with the policy of the United States. That's when things got a little tricky.
Jen Psaki, I want to get to know Jen Psaki. You were born in Stamford, Connecticut. Is that as
Well, I was born in New York City.
Oh, I thought you were born in Stamford.
It's all good. They're close
When
by.
did you move to Stamford?
I was, my parents were living there when I was born, but I was born in New York City Hospital. Because they were living there.
Right.
Well, now you're arguing.
Refresh your Wikipedia page.
Yeah,
Sean.
I don't know. I'm also not Polish. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not Polish?
No.
Not Polish.
No.
That's on your wiki page too?
I think
No, I
so,
didn't say Polish.
maybe.
I didn't say
Oh,
that.
I don't know. Maybe it's not on there anymore. I'm not sure.
Are you Greek and Irish? What else? What are you?
I am Greek and Irish.
Yeah.
Greek and Irish.
Yeah, you're Grirish.
I've never heard that, but I like that. Grirish.
What about your? So you have three sisters. You oldest of three sisters. Your mom was a therapist.
Yeah, still is.
What was that like? Oh, she still is. I love that. I
Yeah.
could use her. What was that like growing up? And did that kind of, because therapists are very smart people. Did it teach you to communicate better?
Oh, maybe. I mean, my mother didn't go to college until after I was born. And she didn't become a therapist until I was probably about 9 or 10. And she used to have appointments in our house at night sometimes after we went to bed or later. But she always, it never really, she was always around, which was great for me as a kid. And she was obviously doing school and stuff. But she still is like this great advice giver. I mean, as a mom, she's somebody I call and I think, what should I do about this?
That's great.
That is
She's
pretty
biased
good.
a little bit.
So did she masquerade the therapy as parenting ever? You know what I mean? Like, did she mix the two?
Yeah, she did. Although my sister and I my sister's 2 years young. One of them's 2 years younger than me. And we still laugh about this time. I mean, my mom, did therapy for families, troubled teens, their parents. And when we were in high school, we came home from high school one day and my mother said, "What is this? What is this?" And she was holding something up. And she thought we were like big into drugs or something or doing tons of drugs. And I was like, "Mom, it's the drawstring to my shorts." She has even though she dealt with adolescence and all sorts of things, she really was also kind of had a little blind spot around that sort of thing. So
Was Dad around?
Dad was around too. Yep. My dad worked in New
Good for
York.
you, an Irish dad that stayed. Good for you.
Irish and Greek. Yeah, my dad is still, I mean, he's 80 now, but he, when I was growing up, it was like family vacations where he knocked on your door at 6 a.m. and you went out for a, 4-hour bike ride and then a 6-hour canoe. And then that was, maybe you could rest after that. There's an intensity.
Sean's dad was 80. Sorry, he was going 80 when he left the driveway.
Yeah. You go screw yourself, son.
And then I just had the black exhaust on my face.
Sean's dad left when he was a kid, and it's been a source of a lot of laughs.
Wonderful comedy. And then, Jen, you married Greg.
Yeah.
Right?
Sweet Greg.
Yeah.
Sweet Greg.
Sweet Greg.
Chief of Staff to Congressman Joe Kennedy.
He was,
And where did you two meet? And do you, same question about your mom now to you and your husband Greg and your kids. Do you now, is there debate that goes on in the house in a way that you because of your background?
Oh, between us about politics?
Yeah.
Sometimes. I mean, we met at the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, which is a very
Hot.
DC nerdy store. Hot,
Hot
exactly.
AF. Keep
Political
going.
rom-com.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He brought me some Grater's ice cream. If anybody knows of Grater's
Yes.
from Cincinnati,
What?
Ohio.
I have it in my
Best
fridge
ice cream
right
on
now.
the planet. Okay. That's where it all started. Rahm Emanuel takes credit for us getting together. So that's funny because Greg traveled with him.
Wow.
But yeah,
That's
we
very
dated
cool.
long distance for a couple years, all the things. But still married 13. How long have you been married? 13 years. 13 years.
Wow, that's great. And wait, how old are your kids?
They are 5 and almost 8. 8 on Thursday.
Wow.
Oh my God.
That's
That's
cool. And you took your daughter to the Taylor Swift concert. I saw on Instagram.
I did.
Was that the greatest thing ever? I'm about to do the same thing.
Oh,
I hear it's a great show.
How old? I should know this.
I've got a
How old-
16 and an 11, two girls.
And do they know they're going?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they're fired up. And
It's-
I'm kind of fired up. We've we've got a mutual friend, Willie, that said that it's the greatest concert he's ever been to.
Yes.
And he's our age, so he's been to a lot of shows and been to a lot of great shows. And I don't think he was exaggerating, Will, right? I mean, that sounded pretty sincere. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
Oh yeah, he loved it.
Yeah,
loved
it.
And
Big time.
when you say fired up, Jay, you mean you're firing up the chopper to land at SoFi because you don't like to deal with traffic.
Yeah, I don't
know
like
that's an
traffic.
issue.
Not too much. I'm just going to
Sounds
hover,
pretty
actually.
good.
I'm going to
Wait.
lower the kids down, but I'm going to stay up top.
I wanted. Oh, there it is.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
Is that it?
see?
Yeah, we're holding up ice cream to the camera.
It's so
listener.
good.
It's really good. I love it.
Sean, by the way,
Sean, you got a pint of ice cream in the house.
Jen,
huh?
I'm so sorry. If you looked in Sean's freezer, you'd see he's like ice cream from Ohio. We got ice cream from Indiana. He's got ice cream from every state.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
he's a Graders fan, so there you go. I
There it is.
feel like
I like it.
Jen, what's going on with the Hollywood Correspondence, or not Hollywood Correspondence? What's it called? The something Correspondence Center.
the White House Correspondence Dinner.
The White House Correspondence. That's right. Now,
Nerd
I
prom?
went there once, and I
We were there. all
right.
together.
Yeah, we loved it. But has it taken? It's taken a hit lately, right? Well, probably because of the last administration. No one really wanted to go. But like, can we get that back up and running and make it
Yeah.
like kind of like
Make it cool again.
Wait, does it not happen
I
anymore?
mean, it does, but I want to go back.
I think it can
When-
come back. I mean, I'm going to put some responsibility on all of you because in order for it to be fun, you've got to bring fun people who are not political.
Well, why don't you
So-
invite us? Well, you can.
You're
why
invited.
don't you have the Psaki
do you all
table?
do you all want to come with NBC and MSNBC next
Yeah,
year?
of course
Great,
Yes,
we
let's
do.
do
I
it.
love
Of
that.
course we
Come on.
do.
Okay.
Let's do
Perfect.
it. How about, well, what about the three of us will host it, right?
Yeah, how about
Yeah.
that?
you go.
Oh, together. Oh, you'd be
Yeah.
so good. Now, the White House Correspondents Association determines
Chooses.
who
Different
they're going to ask
Yeah.
to invite to speak, but I
They're
can
not
put
going
in
to
a good
ask.
word with them.
No,
No,
Peter
we're
Ducey's
not.
not going to ask
You'd be
us.
good.
There's better
Peter
ones than
Ducey's
us.
not going. The Ducey family doesn't want us to do it.
Jen,
I will say, one, I actually have a good relationship with Peter Ducey,
Sure.
but also this year it was the most, normal is not a real good way
Right.
of describing it because it's sort of a weird dinner, but people of all parties, different backgrounds, doing different things, all interacting. That's how it always used to be, and it kind of had a gap when it wasn't like that. So this year
Yeah.
it felt like that, which was kind of nice.
And when is
Great.
it? When is it traditionally? I forget.
May.
End of April, or well, sometimes May,
End of
but
April,
usually
May.
end of April.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to know original career aspirations. Did you always? What were you?
Jay,
into?
sorry, Sean. Jay, how many gummies before the White House Correspondence?
Oh boy, I'll be really fired up for that one. Boy, dude, I don't. I never leave the house with a
Locomotive.
gummy in my body.
Okay.
You crazy?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. And I don't have a freezer full of ice cream from every state.
Yeah, and we're talking about vitamin gummies, right?
Yes, of course. Of course.
Obviously.
Avi, Sean, go for Sean.
Yes. Original career aspirations, earliest memory, like the kind of career you wanted. Like, was this always your trajectory? Were you like,
No, I have never had a 5-year plan. I certainly didn't when I was 5. I still
love that.
don't.
I love it.
So
I love it.
I did remember 2020 with Barbara Walters and Hugh
Yes.
Downs. I
Of
can
course.
still remember the music. And
Of
when I was a
course.
little kid, I just thought that show was great, which is kind of a weird thing. It's
I did
I'm really
too.
exposing my nerdy side, which is kind of obvious. But
it was like more than just murder and mayhem, that show. It was like, it was different. It was different topics.
Totally.
Like, yeah.
yeah, it was good storytelling. I mean, I wouldn't have defined it that way, but I like that. And I did say at some point that when Barbara Walters was ready to retire, or maybe I said something more heartless, like when she died when I was little, because you're insensitive as a little
Right.
kid. that I wanted her job because it seemed fun. And it seemed like she was telling stories.
That's not insensitive.
No, it's just
I mean, if you said it at her funeral, that
would be.
Sure.
And as 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds, you're a little, you're funny, but you're a little off.
Well, is that now? You say you don't have a 5-year plan, but is that a natural progression of sort of the lane you're in now, as far as media goes?
I mean, I really the show's about 4 months old now, and
it's so good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, he's doing such a great job.
You're
awesome.
Every week we just try to think of who we want to know more about, right? And try to have them on as a guest and what we want to know more about. And then I usually try to spend a couple hours with somebody so that we can do a piece about them that isn't just about the news of the day, but who are they and what are they thinking about? And actually, it's a show I think I would want to watch, but I always thought about what I wanted people to come away with, right? And I want them to feel like they're learning something about something they didn't know. Maybe it's somebody they didn't think they agreed with or whatever.
You know what I feel like I could probably watch a multi-episode series on is Ron Klain. I bet he could fill a bunch of episodes.
Oh my, I would like to do a bunch of episodes on Ron Klain. He is just such.
Who is that?
He was the chief. Just go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead. You know
he was the chief of staff, right? Biden's first chief of staff. He's now no longer.
Yeah.
Right? Where did he go?
He was a fan. He was a fan of SmartLess.
Was he really?
Oh yeah. I've never talked to him, but I bet he is.
And he was hugely instrumental in fixing our COVID situation.
Yes.
Before he became chief of staff, correct?
Yeah.
This was in the
transition and figuring out. I mean, he's one of the smartest people I've ever met, and he is a person who doesn't really sleep. And so one of those people who you go to a meeting with and you think, I'm so prepared, I'm ready for all the things, and then he's 400 steps ahead of you.
Where'd he go now?
He's at a law firm.
Okay.
And
it's a
he's
huge
a law firm
asset
now.
we've lost, damn it.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
Were you privy to confidential information in the White House? But like all the stuff that the president
everything,
knows?
Sean.
Hey, sorry. He's trying to work his way towards aliens and UFOs.
Oh,
1,000%.
Say it.
1,000%.
Of course, I knew it. I could smell
that was
it.
quite a flirtation. I was like, where are we going with this? You want to know if I knew who the bad guys were and who was going to be
Just
killed?
fucking ask her about the UFOs.
You know, I will say I had a lot of access to classified information. But there's this thing called need to know. And if you don't need to know, you don't necessarily have access to it. And I wasn't on kind of the alien portfolio, UFOs. That wasn't in my
Do you have any
rubric.
boxes in your bathroom at home?
I don't have boxes in my bathroom.
What can we do about the what seems to be a very lightweight, cheesy wood, blue painted sliding door there for the press room? I'd like a switch. Let's switch out something about it.
I mean,
let's put a glossy blue on it. Or
when you come and you do your tour of Meet the Press in the NBC and MSNBC offices here, we'll take you to. Have you been to the briefing room? You've seen it, right? Have you been in there
at the White House?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. It's very sad in there.
I know.
For these reporters and journalists who are doing amazing work. I mean, it's borderline disgusting, actually. Where they work and they do their work. So it needs a whole reboot.
That little pocket door. It's so sad. That little pocket door.
The pocket door.
Yeah, the little blue one. Yeah.
I know.
Now, right behind that, there seems to be a lot of action right behind that. What do we do? So if you walk out of the briefing room back into the White House, how far are you from the Oval Office from there? Or is there like a press room right there?
There's the lower, what's called the lower press office, where a lot of the spokespeople sit and journalists can come in and out.
Yeah.
Then if you walk up a hallway, if you go to the right. And then one more left, you're right at the Oval Office. If you go to the left, you're in the Rose Garden.
Yeah, it's pretty small, right? Yeah, the whole White House is not big.
It's very small. I do have a funny story about the pocket door. Can I tell you?
Oh, please.
The pocket door. In my first year working for Barack Obama, Bill Clinton came to visit and was meeting with him. And they were having this private meeting. It was also during a lot of the holiday parties. So a lot of the staff were over celebrating Christmas and holidays they celebrate. And only one or two, maybe 22 or 23-year-olds were staffing the press office in case anyone needed anything. And President Obama, President Clinton came down and were trying to open that pocket door, which locks.
Like Jason on the airplane in the dock.
Don't. There you go. They were trying to open it because, and the 23 or 24-year-old said, "Can I help you with anything?" And they said, "We have some things we want to say." and share with the press.
Oh, wow.
Now, the reason this is funny, a number of reasons, but one of them is I think they were envisioning that anytime you open that door, there's a bunch of reporters like sitting waiting.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And really, a lot of them were at the holiday party and other things.
Sure.
So they had to go run around and say to the reporters, get in your seats, get a pen, put shoes on, come back to the briefing room because
No
two
way.
presidents are coming in.
Wow.
So yeah,
Oh my
the pockets are some history. I don't know if you want to get rid of it.
And then you've got like those stables outside, right, where the reporters will do their hits from outside there along the driveway, right? There's
Pebble
like,
Beach is what it's called. Yeah.
Pebble Beach?
why do they call it that?
I'm not even sure, but it's kind of a row of cameras, so you
Yeah.
can. They have the backdrop of the White House. Yes.
They're like individual little sort of cordoned off tents, right? It's kind of
Yes.
like a swanky hotel pool where you got a bunch
something
of cabanas,
like that.
right?
I don't know if it's a swing. Yes, or they stand on boxes in the freezing cold when it's raining and tell you what's happening at the White House or something.
Love
like
everything
Jen,
about
Jen,
it.
what's your biggest regret? Can I call you Jen?
Sure.
What's the
What else
biggest
would you call me?
I don't know. What's
the
your biggest?
alternative?
What's your biggest? I guess Jennifer. What's your biggest regret, or do you have any that you can share with us that you were like, oh, I wish I had done this or said this or
Oh.
responded this way? Do you
Every
have,
day. Every
have a
day I
few?
did that job. Every day I do a show now. Every
Yeah.
time I end it and I say, I wish I would have said this. I wish I've said that.
Yeah.
Some are bigger than
Sure.
others.
No, but when you're working on a show, and we've had that all as performers and actors and stuff. You have those days where you go, oh, I wish that, but I mean more like because of what you were doing when you were working in government.
Yeah.
And the stakes are so much higher than as you now see. Now that you're doing TV, you see how low the stakes really are. Do you when you're actually, helping to what you're doing is part of shaping policy and doing all that kind of stuff. Did you have any regrets going like, I wish that had gone this way or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you? Again, you don't have to get specific, but you can just.
Oh no! I mean, one, I didn't say there was the president still had confidence in the FBI director on my first day. By my first day, I already had a regret. I kind of made fun of the Space Force unintentionally because it has a funny name, but it has an important job.
Yeah, because it's a clown show.
Because the name is absurd, but like
Of
they do an
course.
important job. Now, to the credit of the guy who was running it, he sent me a note and even a pin. It was very nice. But my biggest one is probably at the height of COVID when there was a demand for tests and there was a shortage of tests. And people asked me 100 questions about this every day. And this was one of those moments of exasperation where it was like the 19th question about it. And I said, what do you want us to do? Send them to every American? And that's not actually what we ended up doing because it would have been a waste. But we did end up doing a website where people could order tests.
Right. Yeah.
And either way, it was just flippant and insensitive and wasn't what I meant at the time. It was just like, I was like, I'm tired of answering this question. But yes, I wish that that would have gone differently. But there's plenty of times.
Yeah. I have
There's so many things I wish Sean had done differently.
and he sends them to me.
Yeah.
I wish he had
everybody
a different flavor of graters, but that's for another combo.
Yeah, no, I would love that. Now, Jen, we can cut this question or whatever you want, but it's on my list. It's something that I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah.
We touched on it before about the massive, the feeling, the sense of division in this country that kind of has never been here before. Mm-hmm. And being on now both sides as the press secretary and now having your own show, do you think the press what level of blame, if any, is the press about the division? Do you think they use too many superlatives and try to draw on these kind of make the biggest wave out of this story and that story just to get viewers, or do you think the opposite and the press is just doing their job and they're doing a great job?
I mean, from having been on both sides of it, but even I think the majority of press are doing a good job, and not just doing a good job, but doing kind of following their role, which is to kind of get to the bottom of the truth of things, right?
Yeah.
I think the majority of reporters, and even though I've only been on this side for not that long, I've worked with reporters and journalists and media for decades, right? So that has always been my belief. Right. There are bad actors and people who do not behave that way and do not and share misinformation.
I've been accused of being.
You correct yourself pretty quickly, even when you spread, moments. You have moments. But even so there are bad actors who spread disinfo, who spread inaccurate information, who escalate things. A lesser violation, I would say, are people who get too freak out about everything, which also is not healthy. Everything is not a crisis. And if we keep projecting everything is a crisis, people are going to turn off the TV and stop reading the newspaper.
Right.
So you can't tell everybody to freak out about everything.
That's
I mean, because, and we even sometimes do segments we call Don't Freak Out, because otherwise your nerves are so frayed and it's a little boy who cried wolf. You don't know when it is actually something that is a crisis and something we should be worried about and not.
But there are some people, though, I have over 2,000 employees in Minnesota, who all need pillows. And, I'm not freaking out about anything, Jen.
Pretty good, Willie.
That is
pretty good. That's pretty good. That is pretty good.
I see Jen Psaki on with a bunch of those liberal-leaning Hollywood elite she's on the podcast, And,
what's your favorite little
Part of
piece
this
of
interview.
memorabilia that you still have from the White House?
Oh my God.
Either official or that maybe no one knows that you've taken.
I'm trying to
trust
think
me, you
of
can
what
tell
I've
us. You can tell us.
taken.
Yeah, you can tell. We won't tell
us.
anybody.
We're not going to
What have I
Just
taken
whisper
from the
it to
White?
us.
I didn't really take much. I do have my briefing book.
Okay.
I don't know that that's a real White House memorabilia. It's like from my
course it is.
experience.
Yeah.
I didn't really take anything off the walls, I would say, because that would be bad.
That's stealing. What's stealing?
Did your office have windows?
Yeah.
Your office did have windows.
Yeah,
There
lots
are
of
many
floor to
that
ceiling.
don't, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Were you in the executive building?
No, I was in the West Wing.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Because you love that show.
Why did I say that? Of course you were.
I do. I do love Actually, I did not watch The West Wing when it came out. I did watch the whole entire series in 2012 after I left the Obama White House, and it made me go back to government. So I was like a late bloomer of The West Wing, but it brought me back into government.
I need to watch it.
I know a lot of people.
You've never watched it?
I've never seen it. Yeah, I would probably
I've never seen it either.
It's such a good show.
So your show, is it complicated? Because I know it's complicated on the nighttime talk shows about booking guests. There's you can't do this show after this show, or you got to leave a couple of months.
Yeah, there's some of that.
I'll bet, and I don't want to get you in trouble or make you uncomfortable, but that is part of the job, is trying to negotiate the guests, right? Because certain shows want a certain guest, and then you have to kind of wait your turn, or there's a hierarchy. Yeah, I'll bet.
Well, I don't know if it's a hierarchy as much as you do have to do legwork, reaching out to people and engaging with them about being on your show. Yeah. And why, you never tell them like, this is what I'm going to ask you, or I won't ask you this, but sometimes I think everybody has different pitches about the experience of their show. So for me, I would tell people, we're going to give you more time. We want to explore more than just the news of the day. I want to go take a walk with you, or cook with you, or run with you, or whatever, which is a little bit different than other shows. My show's also newer. Yeah. So some other shows are like, I've been around for a long time and my viewership is whatever it is. Right. Everybody has different pitches. But you got to do some legwork on it and do your homework. I mean, I'm always, because I've been all sides of the pitches of things, I always laugh. I mean, I can't even imagine the number of pitches you all get for, I don't even know, but people send me emails to pitch being on the show it's like, have you ever watched the show? I mean, it hasn't been around that long, but they're like things that have nothing to do with what we do.
Wanting to be on your show.
Right. Yeah. And so, it's from well-meaning PR people. That's completely fine. I respect the profession. But what I've learned is you really have to do the homework and read the 20 articles about a person to say, I thought it was so interesting about this or that or what have you. So you got to do there. But of course, there's like a little competition about who has who and all that kind of stuff.
Right. But if somebody likes, let's say Andrew Weissman, who's like on salary, basically, is he told what shows to do, or does he get to pick what shows he does?
He gets to pick what shows he does, but if people,
because I could watch him all day.
Oh, he's the best, isn't he?
And you do.
And he has a dog named Ennis. I've been to his apartment. We did a whole segment about his apartment.
That apartment just shoots incredibly.
Out of this
Room
world.
Raider must be out of their mind.
He always scores highly with Room Raider. He's got art you can't even see in the apartment.
He's got the metal staircase.
You know you've got good art if you're not showing it. You know what I'm saying?
But people book people up. They kind of lock them in if they know, because the legal story is going to be big for a while, it seems. That's my most diplomatic way of saying it. So.
Do you get to decide your fill-in when you go on vacation? You get to decide who takes over for you? Or does that come from the high up?
Yeah, I think so. I think you kind of have a conversation. I haven't missed a show yet, so I don't know yet.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you can go on for an Oscar for me.
Yeah.
Listen, Jen Psaki, we've taken up way too much of your time. We love you.
Like 2 minutes. Damn it.
I want to leave with this, Jen, because, and I really mean it. I want to say thank you for always imbuing the idea and the sense that every human being should be treated equal. And you've always said versions of that throughout your entire career. I don't understand who wouldn't be for that idea, that all human beings should be created equal. But so thank you for always saying that.
You've always seemed to be a very decent person.
Thank you. I believe that. I mean, in a lot of ways, I don't see myself as a partisan or as a Democrat, even though I've worked in Democratic politics. I see myself as somebody who believes in kind of morally what is right and not justifying discrimination. And that is what gets me.
It came across.
Well, you're very exciting to listen to and to watch because of your intellect, you know, there's some people can have an intellect, but they're kind of old and stodgy. But there's a current, there's a relevance to your sensibility about things, and your way in which that you articulate that is always exciting to listen to. So
thank you.
Thank you so much. So great to meet you.
Huge fan. Happy 3rd birthday.
Thank you. And good luck with the show. We'll keep watching.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jen.
Goodbye.
What about that Jen Psaki, huh?
Jen Psaki.
I mean, I love Jen Psaki.
You know,
anybody with a silent P,
especially with she should open the sushi place, right? Jen Psaki.
I mean,
and just,
right? Exactly.
I saw that coming. I know from a mile away. And Jay, she was on your list for a while, right?
She was, but you know, I mean, I've got a lot of, I don't push for the political folks because I know we try not to get too political on this show. But man, I've got a long list of folks. I should start a different podcast. Just a little one on the side, right? But yeah, I'm fascinated with all that political stuff, especially now.
I love the way she said, Sean, in sort of in answering your question at the end when you were talking about just about this idea that she's not trying to be one way or the other. Like, in fact, if anything, she just wants to come across as very bipartisan.
Oh, nice. Bye.
She works for Joe Biden, or used to.
Don't harmonize. You can't harmonize the bye.
SmartLess.
SmartLess is 100% organic and artisanally handcrafted by Bennett Barbaco, Michael Grant Terry, and Rob Armjarf.
SmartLess.
This episode was recorded on July 11th.
Hey listeners, you need to know that Wondery's shocking true crime podcast, Over My Dead Body, is back for a 4th season, Gone Hunting. This newest season covers the story of Mike Williams. It was Mike's 6th wedding anniversary when he set off on a hunting trip into the gator-infested swamps of North Florida. He figured he'd be back in time to take his wife Denise out to celebrate, but he never came back. Friends and loved ones feared he met his fate through bad luck and a group of hungry alligators, leaving his young family behind. Except that's not what happened at all. And after 17 years, a kidnapping, and the uncovering of a secret love triangle, the truth would finally be revealed. Enjoy Over My Dead Body, Gone Hunting on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Over My Dead Body early and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Get started with your free trial at Wondery.com/plus.